Probably the best memories I had with John Mark was several years ago on a River of Life team. I had the pleasure of having him as my crew leader.
Well, John Mark Jones was one of the guys that I wanted to be like. He used to frustrate me to no end because with his temperament, he was even-keeled, he was a solid guy, he was honest, a good Christian man. I always wanted to be like him, and it was always frustrating to me because I was so opposite and so all over the board and up and down. But he was my friend, and I loved him dearly.
The one thing that I remember about John Mark is that he was a type of person that would just be willing to do anything. He volunteered. I didn't get the opportunity to work with him during River of Life in the kitchen, but I know he would have been a hard worker because he volunteered so much in the community. His name was well known at Springdale Elementary School, and I just remember the times that we would see him. He would be directing traffic early in the morning, and then he would go to work. And I got to know John better because we both worked at the medical center. And I would see him when he would come in, pick up our deposits. And he'd always share with me the great things, how much he enjoyed the youth.
I just remember always that John Mark was here and ready to help us with anything we needed.
And no matter how bad the day went, he had a rough day. He electrocuted himself trying to plug in a drill. He spilled paint all over the ladies' porch, and he fell off a ladder and had paint splash him in the face. But just like no matter how bad the day got, he always kept his cool and stayed calm and just made sure we all had a good time. Like, I would say John was one of those people that you just love to be around.
The River of Life event, how much he enjoyed being a part of the youth. And one thing I do remember about John too is when he was just a big volunteer, like I said, at Springdale. And my daughter, when she was, I think, probably, I don't know if it was first grade, second grade, she would see John. And I'd always remember her just with so much respect saying, "Mom, there's Officer John." And so she's always known him as Officer John.
When he began in the real estate business, my house was the first house he ever sold. And he brought me an offer at my office one time and handed it to me, and I thought it was a terrible offer. And I lit into him, and I threw that thing. I'll never forget throwing that thing across my desk at him and telling him what he could do with that offer. And it was getting pretty heated in there, and he leaned back and said, "Well, okay, let's see what we can do about it." And he was just real calm and easygoing, and we've laughed about that. We laughed about it ever since. And he was just the kind of guy that you wanted to be and you wanted to be around.
His first year, he was leading a carpentry crew, and he was kind of a little nervous because he didn't think he knew enough for that, but he got out there and he had fun and laughed at himself when he messed up and just really helped the kids to have a good time, and that was real important. And even when his health was not as good, he would work here at the church. He would drag the garbage to the dumpster. He'd do anything, wash tables, just to be a part, and I always respected that about him. And he was just a good friend for my husband and I, and we're definitely missing him this year.
There's a few people in life that at this church especially, when I'd see him come in the door, I just wanted to be around him. And that's the way John Mark was. You just wanted to hang out and be around him and talk to him and say how you doing, and just to spend 5 or 10 minutes with him and see what's going on with his life was always fun, and it was a pleasure. I miss him every day. Think about him quite a lot. He was my friend.
It was really hard for us. It was a sad time when we found out John's passing, and we're going to miss him tremendously. He was just a wonderful person to know. I'm sure he is. He was just a friend to everyone.